Hey all, it's Nim or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and welcome to the YouTube video. Now today we're going to be talking about Battle for Azeroth Final Thoughts. So if you're watching this video on the day it releases, we're right at the brink of Shadowlands going live. Can't you smell it? New content? Smells wonderful. And like any good content creator, I decided to do a Final Thoughts video. I remember being excited at the launch of Battle for Azeroth despite losing the powerful Ashbringer. I did main a red at the time, and Ashbringer is essentially WoW's version of Excalibur. So let's go through Battle for Azeroth and finally close the book on this controversial expansion. Before we get started though, I do want to mention I stream on Twitch Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Without further ado, there we are. Gearing and the removal of legendaries. Now, coming into Battle for Azeroth, I was riding high. I was a Mythic Raider. I did fairly well in both progression and play. I think we killed 7 bosses in Argus Mythic before the people stopped showing up. And hey, listen, everybody loses people to the attrition boss. Everybody. But I was that player. You know the one, the paladin who can be like, hey, I bopped the odd mage to help them drop threat on the new ad, or the druid who can soothe to help in rage effects. I kept hearing about how the game changes at level 116. I didn't replace most of my gear at the start of the expansion because, quite frankly, my gear was better. Again, I was Mythic Rated geared, I was High Mythic Plus geared, but when I hit 116, the game stuttered, stalled. It made it hard. It's like I got knocked down the power curve. Because you see, at 116, it wasn't the scaling of the mobs. It was the fact that the Legion legendary items, the items I had painstakingly acquired, the items that fixed a lot of classes, stopped working. Their legendary effects just stopped. So that extra talent point that I had from the Paladin Ring and the extra damage I got from my cloak stopped working. And I felt like I was the lowest point on the power curve. Now, eventually I would gear up, and I'd climb back up the power curve, and everything would be fine. But it was jarring. It wasn't an easy... I mean, I know at some point you have to turn off the features of the last expansion, but normally you'd have class design that would, I don't know, maybe cover that, so it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm riding good. Ding! Why is my sword made of foam and my armor made of paper? This is terrible! And also, why is everything 5,000 mana? I only have 2,000 mana. That's how it felt. On to scaling. In Battle for Azeroth, the world would scale up with you, called Dynamic Zones. You can finish all the quests at a certain level, and when you come back to do, say, an emissary quest set, the mobs will be scaled up to your level. This was at first an interesting move, as we as players had always had the benefit of out-leveling most zones. I do want to mention most zones. Obviously, the end-game stuff is always going to be the expansion's max level, and then once the expansion goes on, hey, that's old content. Don't worry about it. If you think it's too easy, well, then unequip your shield. I don't know what to tell you there. But I remember forum post after forum post, doomsayers saying like, oh, this is gonna take away our player progress. This is gonna take away our player power. Here's a hint. It didn't. Because once you got to a certain level of gear, okay, so instead of me being able to be like, judgment, boom, and throw a hammer and have somebody skull crack and be like, wow, cool, I can loot your pockets now. It took judgment and Crusader Strike at a certain point. And of course, the world content stopped being really useful to me outside of the rep requirements, which were usable for Pathfinder, at a certain point. I mean, literally every patch would be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll do my world quests just to do them, but it's not something I need to grind, it's not something I need gear for. Now you may say, but Nim, what about the new player? Well, it's going to be a little rougher for the new player at the beginning, but eventually, you will get on that power curve and keep going. It's one of those things that requires time. Now, there were conspiracies about, well, that'll increase playtime metric. You know, you scaling the things means it's going to be another global. And if you have another global, with GCD's 1.5 seconds. By the way, I just want to throw that out there. With not adjusted for haste. Some classes adjust for haste. So you're telling me that yeah, I guess it would increase playtime metrics. But if you're trying to increase playtime metrics, why would you do something so banal? Just add another grind. Put power at the end of it. People will go for it. You don't have to try to do this. They're not playing three-dimensional chess. They're just building a game, and people are being told, okay, well, let's try this, let's try that, or instructions are being issued. It's fine. So again, I could nuke it down in 2 globals, as opposed to 1, and it wasn't noticeable past a certain eye level in each patch. I think in the first one, once I got into like the 380s, I was like, oh, okay, ding. And once I got into like the 430s, ding. And then once I got in, absolutely, when I ended the expansion at like 467, maybe 468 before the squish, and I looked at stuff and was like, lay down. You don't want any of this. And I was also fully geared with Light's Decree and everything, so we were good. Pathfinder and the rep grind. So in Warlords and Legion, we had a Pathfinder. We must remember that Pathfinder was the compromise, because originally in Warlords, there wasn't going to be flying. Before then, you could fly in the Burning Crusade, in Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, and Mists of Pandaria at max level. You just went in, paid your gold, and go from there. Pathfinder was the achievement you set. Okay, you get Pathfinder, you flight, we'll give you a mount. Alright, means you did all the content, you saw everything that designers wanted to see. And we assumed we'd have the same system in Battle for Azeroth. For the most part, we did. And, again, we weren't disappointed. While in some cases, more the same, the Part 2 requirement had a bit of contention, because I'd found through talking to a bunch of people, they either loved Nazjatar or Mechagon, and despised the other zone. For myself, I loved Mechagon, and Nazjatar only became enjoyable once I could fly in it. It was the mob density, it was the terrain, and me being able to fly just made that so much simpler. So much simpler. Where I go, okay, I gotta go here, 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 here. I don't want to train 15 mobs with me. I don't care. Even if I stop and I could kill them all at my gear level, what am I gonna get? Like 3 gold? It's not even worth it for me at that point. So I'm gonna go. So I just want to get there. So I loved Mechagon though. Mechagon was great. Got to build up the resistance and then a lot of machines. Now for those who don't know, I'm an engineer during the day. So machines and me, yeah, big fan. All right, on to pandemic buffs. Now, as far as I'm aware, this was the only expansion that has been live during a global pandemic, and most players thought work on it would continue, at least in a maintenance sense, until the new expansion came out. Now, I am aware that I believe the game was out. There might have been for swine flu, bird flu, and, of course, a couple of years ago, there was an Ebola scare, but it didn't quite reach pandemic level. So, that being said, it's not quite comparable to what we're currently going through. But it's here where we got to see a little bit of that old Blizzard magic. Not the BioWare magic, where we're like, oh, we can grind and crush our employees and it'll all come together. But I mean the old Blizzard, it's ready when it's ready type magic. Talking about the Winds of Wisdom and Impressive Influence buff. So, the Winds of Wisdom increased your experience gains by 100% from everything. And Impressive Influence increased your rep gains in, I believe it was Legion and Battle for Azeroth by 100%. So that 75 rep quest that you got in doing Nash, 150. And now your 4 is a 600, you turn in your Emissary, you get, 1,500 plus you get 3,000. So you end up with 3,600. Well, here's the thing. In order to go from neutral to Exalted is 41,000. So, hey, look, 1,700 or 3,600, which sounds easier, which sounds better, which sounds more player-friendly. Especially because it's not like you're going to unlock new stuff all the time outside of some items and some customizable things and, some pets. It's not like there's new story there. It's, no, you just have to do this because we're in 8.3, and this is old content. You have to do the old content in order to get flying for current content. Now, with these two buffs, a new player could get to the endgame rather quickly and unlock Pathfinder. In fact, I remember flying around a priest healer in my guild to get the exploration achievements, and approximately 2 days later, he unlocked flying. Now, I'm sure he was already somewhat on his way. He's like, oh, I don't have the exploration achievements. Oh, okay, well, there, I'll turn a Sandstone Drake, hop on my back, I'll fly you around. Not a big deal. Easy, fun. Now, these buffs lasted for months and were a welcome relief to those locked down. Literally, they cut into their own profit to increase experience gains. Because remember, boosts are $60 a piece. Now, you could say, but Nim, what if instead of, selling boosts, they just wanted more people to subscribe and play the game and get money that way? Oh, you mean like the normal way? You mean like the way that subscription models always work? You mean like the way that WoW has been basically forever? Is like, hey, we want you to play, but you gotta pay. Now, they did a little bit change with the token. People buy that, but that's a different story. You still have to have an active sub, whether it's purchased through token or through cash. Final thoughts. Battle for Azeroth was an expansion that followed after a truly great one, Legion. Now, it wasn't perfect, but I think it was a good expansion in certain areas. Tailed those out before, and there'll be a link in the video cards for that. It was plagued by a step back in artifact mechanics. Azerite was a step back from artifact, because the thing with artifacts is you knew the path you would go, you'd get to it, and eventually you would fill out everything, and then you get your dump trait, so whatever. But it was, I believe Azerite was a step back, and in fact, Azerite armor and Azerite traits was one of the things I thought that BFA did wrong. And again, it's in a video, I can link that to you. And a general lack of balancing until players had invested in the new systems. I hope that the good things are continued and the less enjoyable systems are, at the very least, revamped. Now, here's the thing. I'm a long-time Blizzard player. I've played WoW since vanilla. New systems are very rarely successful. But sometimes they are. I'll say that the Mythic Plus system, generally pretty successful. Looking for dungeon, looking for group, pre-made group finder. We must remember there was a thing called OQ back in Pandaria, and it was an add-on to help you find essentially pre-made groups. You'd list on OQ, and you could pick and pull people out. Well, the next expansion we ended up with pre-made group finder. It's a great system. It works. I'd like to see Raider IO put in, but it's neither here nor there. Some players think it's toxic. That's not important. But new systems very rarely work out, and I am cautiously optimistic with the Shadowlands, especially because they took the time to actually delay the game. Now, again, this could all be misplaced confidence, bluster. I could be on the hype train, choo-choo. Maybe I am. But that being said, those are my final thoughts on Battle for Azeroth. What are yours? Leave me a comment below, and I will respond. I hope to see you all in the Shadowlands. And, of course, if you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe, all those other things. We're currently working on getting that YouTube partnership, so anything there helps. Again, I stream on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you all have a pleasant day, and let's have fun in the Shadowlands. Bye. Thanks for watching. I'd like to thank all of my patrons for helping make these videos possible, and if you're still in the mood for more content, check out the recent videos or the related videos linked on screen. Other than that, take care and do something nice for yourself today. Bye.